Dear friends of the fine art of building, of holistic natural building with straw bales, today I want to talk about how to select the right straw bale for a straw bale construction site, because there's a lot of discussion about it, a lot of questions about it. This is a big and important thing to know as a straw bale builder, how to select the right straw bale, because it has consequences in the infill, and things can be much faster with a good straw bale, and with a bad straw bale things can also not turn out so well for the building. So let's talk about straw bales, and I have 3 different straw bales here for you guys, and I will test all of them with you. We can certify the bales to become a building straw bale, and I will guide you through all the steps like I do when I look at bales. The very first thing that I do when I see a straw bale is I feel it, I look at it from all the sides, I smell it. This is very important. Our natural senses, they can tell us a lot about a straw bale. And if it smells nice, like fresh straw, dry, it's already good, because there's one criteria, that is the straw bale should be below 20% of moisture content in the bale. And there's the measuring device that you can stick into a bale, and it will tell you on the screen like the humidity level that this bale has. But I think you don't really need this device. If you really want to be sure, you can have it, you can buy it. But I, with my senses of feeling, of smelling, of touching, I can tell whether a bale is dry enough or not. Also, this one feels super nice and dry. Yeah, but this one doesn't feel that dry. And if I smell it, it has a strange smell to it. So I'm guessing that this bale has some mold on it and was not stored properly and got too moist. And then the molding process is starting once we have over 20% of humidity in the bale and over 20 degrees temperature. Yeah, and you can see here how the mold starts to grow. Right here we see a little bit of mold starting to grow. So you should really not build with any bales that have any sign of mold growing on it or that are too moist. So this one we can sort it out. But sometimes you will get gray looking straw, and that can happen if the harvest was a little bit wet, that the whole straw bale looks a little bit grayish. And it doesn't mean that it's a bad bale. It can be super dry afterwards, and it can be still used for straw bale building. It's just way nicer to build with golden straw, so I always try to get golden straw, because you see the beautiful straw bale walls like this one. And if you make a roof window, it's also nicer to see the golden straw. But yeah, they can be sometimes a little bit gray, the straw helms, but it doesn't mean that it's mold. Mold, you will smell it, you will see it, and then you just sort it out and you don't use it. And with every straw delivery, you should look at the bales, because even if you buy the bales from a company that is specialized in producing building straw bales, even there, on each delivery that I had yet, we had to sort out some bales where a dead animal was inside, or some animal manure somehow got into the bale, or yeah, you always need to look at each bale before you build it into the wall. That's the only real quality control that you can have. So that means this bale we will already sort out. So now we are left with these 2 beautiful bales. Well, yeah, it can be more beautiful, but they are straw, they're already beautiful. And now many people have the question, but which type of grain can I use for my straw bale building? And the thing is, the beautiful thing is, we can use all the grains. We can even use rice straw, we can use oat, we can use wheat, we can use barley, we can use rye, we can use all the varieties, except if you're doing load-bearing straw bale construction without the wooden frame to carry the roof. There we should not use oat. That's the experience that I was taught, that oat is just too soft. So there you would rather use a highly densely pressed wheat bale. So this bale right here, it's rye straw, and it's also rather soft. And this bale here, right here is a barley bale, and you can feel it. It's much harder. It's much more stingy, the straw halms. So there's a difference in that. And if I look at the bales now, this bale, it looks a little bit round, like it has no real corners. It looks not really square, and this is a disadvantage. In strawberry building, we would like to have straw bales that are as square as possible. More like this one, where we have more of some defined edges. This will reduce the amount of work we need to spend on stuffing the wall, like stuffing all the holes in the corners. And this bale, yeah, looks pretty okay square. There are some more square ones than this one, but this one is already good enough for me. This one you could build with it, but it's not ideal. So then one of the most important criteria is the density of the bale. Because we want to have a pretty dense bale, that the bale itself creates us a very good and stable wall, and at the same time a dense bale is already not burning very well. If you have loose straw, it will burn very well. But if you have a densely pressed bale like this, try it, set it on fire and see what happens. It will mostly smoke around, but it will not really catch on fire and be a big fireball in a second. Of course, we need the clay plaster additionally to have it super fire protected when we are living in the house. But we want to have a densely pressed bale for us to create a very stable wall that can carry all the plaster and that it itself is not really lightly inflammable. So how we can calculate the density is fairly simple. You just take a weigh like this, a hanging weigh, where you can weigh a suitcase or whatever you need. Here I can hook it into one of the strings of the bale, and then I can lift it up and see how many kilos I get. Okay, so I see I have 20 kilos on this bale. And for example, here in Germany, the straw bale guidelines, they want us to have a bale that has a density of 100 kilograms plus minus 15 per cubic meter. So now how do we calculate what is this 20 kilo bale per cubic meter? So now that we have the measurements, we can calculate the volume of one bale, 0.99 meters times 0.47 times 0.36. So we know now this bale has a volume of 0.167 cubic meters. Now, to figure out how many of these bales would fit into 1 cubic meter, we just calculate 1 divided by 0.167. And that gives us the result that 5.98 straw bales of this size would fit into 1 cubic meter. So we will remember this number, and now we can just take the weight that we measured and we multiply it by this number, 20 kilograms. Ta-da! And now we have the density of this bale. So the density of this bale is 119 kilograms per cubic meter, which is great. We know that the guidelines tell us that we should have maximum 115 kilograms of density per cubic meter. But I like to have my bales a little bit more dense, because when I infill them and I cut open the strings, the bales will pop up a little bit and they will probably be less dense afterwards. So then I will maybe reach my 115. And I always think it's a little bit better to be on the more dense side than to be on a too light side. So now this bale passed our density test. I can tell you, if you ever want to make your own straw bales with a local farmer who has a small baling press, you can adjust the density on this baling press. So you can try it out until you have the right density that you wish for. So you can produce your own straw bales, which is the best. So now let's do a quick density test on this other contestant here, the beautiful barley straw. And what do we have? 18 kilograms. And we have the result that this bale has a density on the cubic meter of 180 kilograms. So we also have a good value for our building. And also when you're planning your straw bale project and you know at what distance your wooden posts will be placed, and if you make your own straw bales with your local farmer, there's another adjustment that you can do to adjust the length of the straw bale. You cannot adjust the width or the height of the straw bale because this is defined by the channel of the baling machine. But you can choose at what point this baling machine is making the knots, and like that how long the bale gets. So you should stay under 1 meter definitely, but you can choose a little bit depending on your planning and your wishes to make your bales in just the right size for your posts. And the ideal way and the most efficient way to build them in would be if your posts are exactly as wide apart from each other as this bale is long. Because then I can put my bale inside and I can cut open the strings, and the bale, it has a lot of pressure inside. So it will pop open and it will get stuck between your posts. And this is another criteria that you can check when you check your straw bales. How much do they expand if you cut open the strings? And the more they expand, the more they shoot apart, the better it is. So now let's see on these bales how well they shoot apart. So this bale, wow, you see already like a banana. And now the second one, wow, okay, this bale has a really good ability to spring apart. And now we see the bale is separating. It's separating in flakes. These flakes are created by each compression of the cylinder in the baling machine. It creates one flake, and all of these flakes you can separate well. And this is another criteria of quality and buildability with the bales, is that each flake, it should hold together like that if you hold it up. And if you shake it a little bit, it should not fall apart, it should stay together. And like that we have it easy while building. And then if you check one of these flakes and you take some straw halms in your hand, to really be able to build with the straw should not be too short. And I would recommend that you get a minimum of 40 centimeters straw halms. So if I measure now, the longest halms are about 50 centimeters. So I would not go under 40, because some farmers, they shred the straw somehow. And if you make bales out of shredded straw, you will not have a fun time while building with it, and it will be a lot more unstable and really difficult to get a stable wall out of that. And the longer the straw, the better. The dream for a strawberry builder is to have the longest halm possible. This is kind of like medium. I've seen longer halms in straw bales, but I can totally work with that. So let's see how this bale behaves when we cut it open. Okay, you've seen it's way less. It expanded way less than the other bale, which I don't like too much. And now we can see and try to separate the flakes. And here it's not that clear about the flakes than the other bale. And somehow, okay, now I have this flake here, but now it already broke apart. Okay, let me try the next flake. Yeah, and the flake falls apart when I have it in my hand. And this is not good. This is really annoying when you want to build with such a straw. And you can see already here when I take some straw in my hand, the straw fibers are really short. Maybe the longest ones, it's hard to tell even, but I think they're barely 20 centimeters long. So I would really not want to build with this kind of bale. And also a very important tip on how to get good long straw fibers for your straw bale house when you go to the local farmer. There are two different types of combine harvesters, the machines that harvest the grains and the straw. And there's one that has a rotor inside. And this rotor is bending the straw, and it makes the straw a lot shorter than it could be. And there's one other type which is called, I don't know how it's in English exactly, but it's shaking rather than using a rotor to get the grains out. And this shaking one, you have to talk to your local farmer to figure this out. He probably knows. He leaves the straw halms longer. And if you can, ask your farmer to use the combine harvester with the shaking device, not the rotor device, to get the longest straw as possible. At the end of the day, if you're an experienced straw bale builder, you can work with many different qualities of bales. You can do workarounds, you know how to work with the material, and you can even make it happen with bad straw. But it's very, very helpful, and it will also save up on time if you employ people to do it, if you get good straw. It's really, really valuable, and it's really a recommendation to not try to save up on the material cost of the straw bale. We'd rather get one that is more suitable, but maybe a little bit more expensive, than if you have bad quality straw where all the work takes longer. And another thing that we should take care of is that there are not too many grains, like wheat grains, inside of the straw. But the modern harvesting machines, like you can see here, there's no grains left whatsoever. It's very, very few times that you find some grains still in the straw, but most of them are really harvested away, and you just have the pure straw. Yeah, this is just, it goes through the whole bale like this. And yeah, the plaster ground will not be as stable with all of this short straw that is just flying away like this. And sometimes on these bales you will find some herbs in between. Something that is not straw, something that is grass or thistles or other stuff that grew on the field. And it should be held to a minimum. If you ever find a bale, there's also a thistle. If you find a bale that is looking more green than golden, you should sort it out. Because all the green stuff, it is not as resistant to water or to moisture like straw is. So we want to have straw in our wall. We want to have the insulation value of the straw, even though most of the green stuff would also have some kind of insulating property. But still we want to have it equally in the whole wall. So we would like to have as clean as possible the straw. I don't mind if there are a few little other plants in the straw, because mostly it's also a great indicator that my straw is organic straw. And this is my personal preference. I choose to only build with organic straw, because for me it doesn't make sense that I build a super organic ecological house out of straw and then I use some conventional straw where the farmer may have used a lot of pesticides on it. This doesn't fit together for me. And also I want to support my local organic farmer. I want to support organic farmers in general. And you know, when you go to a farmer and you tell him, hey, I want to build a straw bale house, can I use your straw? Can you supply me that straw? And maybe this farmer has never heard of straw bale building before, and you tell him about it, and then he realizes, wow, I can not only be a food producer, which is super important for the world, I can also be a building material supplier for the best houses in the world. How amazing is that? I might as well build my own house out of straw bale, the farmer might say. And he might feel very empowered, and he might feel very valued and happy about this. My wish for the world is that we only build with organic straw. Just enjoy your straw, enjoy the smell, enjoy the color, have fun building your straw bale houses.